I ain't gonna lie. I've been holding a lot of shit in lately. Man, I just had like a 3.5 hour cry.
What do I owe the pleasure? What do I owe the pleasure? Last time we been together, we wash your car for you. We wash your car with no shame in our hustle. When you got them getting into that wash, and you know that tip gonna be good like y'all better stop buying this slippery soap, man. What's going on there?
The streets have been buzzing, but no one saw this coming. 50 Cent just released some tapes that have Rick Ross on the verge of losing it. And let me tell you, this ain't your typical hip-hop drama anymore. We've got the inside scoop on how these leaked tapes involving Ross and Diddy made their way online. Once you hear what's on them, you'll get why Ross is about to flip the entire industry upside down. The way 50 pulled off this chess move, pure chaos, and it's legendary.
Bruh, just like New York, just like Mount Vernon, New York City, Mount Vernon, and Miami, all that is the same, bruh. Nobody wants to be near him. Nobody wants to touch what he touched, be where he at. You understand? It's crazy, bruh, how his fall from grace, which was never from grace. It's just like the devil just kicked him out of hell, because he was never in nothing graceful and did anything graceful. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you say about, okay, he did the music, he had the bad boy legacy and everything like that, man. But, you know, a few albums, a few people, you know, made to be famous, but they not here to tell their story. Black Rob, Biggie, Craig Mack. They not here to tell their story, bro. And now you got everybody telling his story.
Yeah, and I know 50, he did a recent interview with US Weekly saying that the reason why rappers are quiet about, Diddy's situation is because they've been to his parties and they don't know what got caught on tape.
Bruh, those people who was caught at Diddy party did not know that he had 250 tape recorders in that house. That's a big house.
Girl, listen to this. 50 Cent's been playing the longest game in hip-hop history with this one. Back in 2009, when Ross threw the Officer Ricky shots at 50, everyone thought it was just another rap beef. But 50? He had way bigger plans. While Ross was out here thinking he was winning their back and forth, 50 was quietly working in the shadows, collecting receipts and building alliances. Every time Ross flexed with his Wingstop profits or car collection, 50 just watched, waiting. He wasn't responding to the little shots. He was preparing for the big move, and the way 50 plotted this takedown? Trade-up genius. He waited until Ross was out here, promoting his new Checkers franchise, flaunting his latest business moves. Ross thought he was untouchable, flexing on social media. That's when 50 knew it was time to make his move. If you were paying attention to 50's Instagram the week before, you saw him setting the stage. He posted cryptic messages about how some people aren't who they claim to be, then dropped that tick 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 time's running out for some folks post. Knew what he meant, but the streets were watching. Then bam, on a regular Tuesday afternoon when everyone was just chilling, 50 dropped that tape. No heads up, no build up, just pure destruction. And he did it cold too, no caption, just letting the footage speak for itself. Within minutes, the whole industry was buzzing.
But he had 250 tape recorders in that house that they took, that the feds found. So now with them finding all that and you being at a Diddy party, you know you may have done something that was caught on one of those tapes. You just better pray to God that they don't recognize you. Those people who know that they did something, no, they're not going to speak out. They're not going to say nothing. What part of the game is that? they are not going to come forward and tell on themselves. Nah, not at all. Ice Cube, he said it himself, bro. He said that Diddy's been targeted because of what he said about those folks and those people. Now, the people who was on those tapes may feel like Diddy might be targeting them. Because if he's asked about who is this, who is that, and he's under oath with the federal government, he got to tell them. He's not going to plead the fifth.
Yeah, I know that got to be a terrible feeling, man. You know you did something wrong at Diddy party, and you hoping and praying that it's not caught on tape.
But they don't think they did nothing wrong. That's their lifestyle. That's their lifestyle, bro. I ask guys all the time, if two men lay down, how many homos get up? What you mean? I mean what I mean. It's what it is.
The reactions started flooding in instantly. Industry bigwigs were calling emergency meetings, PR teams were scrambling to stay ahead of the story, and everyone who had ever worked with Ross or Diddy suddenly went into hiding. This wasn't your typical diss track or old DMs being aired out. This was on another level. The level of planning that went into this? 50 Cent had been lurking, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, watching Ross rise to the top just to knock him down lower than ever. What made it even more insane was how Ross had no idea what was coming. Word is, he was in a business meeting when his phone started buzzing nonstop. His team was desperately trying to reach him, everyone was sending him the video, and he thought it was just another one of 50's jokes. But when he finally saw what 50 actually leaked, that's when everything changed. And listen, if you thought that first tape was bad, word on the street is 50 has a lot more where that came from. He's been sitting on this stuff for years, just waiting for the right moment to drop it. The way he orchestrated all of this, it's like he scripted a revenge movie and made Ross the unwitting lead. But what Ross didn't realize is that first tape was just the start. The real question everyone's asking, what else does 50 have stashed away? Because if he waited 14 years to drop this bomb, who knows what other explosive footage he's been sitting on.
Confirming or I'm 100% factual, but it's somebody in this story of things that seems more reliable than others, Race, is what I'll say it, just to protect my sources. But this source informed me of who these A-list celebrities are on these tapes that are being allegedly auctioned off online and through the networks. And it's put me in a little bit of a bind because I like to be fully transparent with the audience. I want to say things, but I also realize from what I'm told, because again, I haven't seen them directly yet. I haven't. And I don't know if I want to. Race, I want your advice on that too. But the problem I have is just like, typically I want to report on these things, but I got to be careful legally, ethically, morally as to what we report on here. Because as Ariel, the lawyer here, did admit, and I can attest based on the information I got from a separate reliable source, people in these videos don't know they're being videotaped. That's a big issue, Race, right? Let's start out right there. If there are people on these tapes that don't know that they were being filmed, is that okay to talk about and to share?
I have a big problem with that, as do you, Andy. And you tend to be an ethical guy, and you're taking the high ground here. Notwithstanding the fact that you may have some significant information and reliable information. But the reality is that, look, I mean, if people were recorded non-consensually and you're the one to identify them, I think that's a problem, right? And I think anytime anyone has content, right? This is not an email. This is not a text message. This is video. Right. And there's specific statutes without using specific language I don't want to get into, but everybody knows what we're talking about here.
It's Diddy with this person. I'll say that. It's Diddy with this person. Actually, yes.
Yeah. And see, the problem is, again, like non-consensually recorded, you've got a victim here who may not want to be publicly identified. That's the problem. That's the problem. And they have a right to proceed if they want to, whether it's criminally or civilly, without being identified, because we know what's going to happen. As soon as they identify themselves, there's going to be a bunch of people that come out of the woodwork who are going to unequivocally harass them and claim that didn't happen, and they're making stuff up. And there's the victims that we want to protect here, and that's significant.
Well, it's interesting because here's why I wanted to have this conversation, because I know a lot of you are gonna be like, Andy, just say it. No, I'm not going to say them, but I wanted to have this conversation as to why we're not saying it and why I think others haven't yet said it, raised, because again, legally, ethically, morally, it's just not right. Now, there's an argument I've had with people who are like, well, they knew what they were doing with Diddy. Like these were consensual acts. Like they knew, and he filmed other times. So I don't know what the big deal is. It's going to come out. It's going to come out is what I keep hearing from other reliable sources. It may come out, but it's not going to come out via me. That's just to warn you all. Cause I don't think it's wise for us to put out something like you just confirmed it without the consent of the other person in the video. Because again, from what I'm gathering based on some of these tapes, and again, we're still learning more and I haven't seen them with my own eyes.
Remember all those times Ross swore up and down that he never did business with certain people? That's what makes these tapes so explosive, because baby, the receipts don't lie. 50 Cent caught Ross in 4K doing exactly what he spent years denying. The footage 50 dropped shows Ross in some seriously compromising situations with Diddy. And we're not talking about innocent business meetings. We've seen Ross at private parties, getting cozy with people he claimed he never even met, but the worst part? There's audio of Ross talking about deals that went down behind closed doors, deals he's been denying for years. In one clip, Ross is straight up bragging about how he and Diddy set up these special arrangements with up-and-coming artists. The way he talks about it so casually has people thinking this wasn't a one-time thing. Industry veterans who've seen the footage are saying it's the kind of stuff that could get someone blackballed from the music business for good. What's really got everyone shook is how these tapes connect back to those old rumors about Ross's early days in the industry. You know, all those stories he's been shutting down about how he really got his start? Well, these videos are painting a whole different picture. We're seeing Ross getting real comfortable with people he swore he never dealt with, talking about business moves he claimed never happened.
Isn't it weird that the government was so interested in Diddy's baby oil that they took 1,000 bottles away from his house? If the government took 1,000 bottles of baby oil and somebody had things what appeared to be baby oil, and then you have to listen to the prosecutor. He said that they seized 1,000 bottles what allegedly to be baby oil. Allegedly to be baby oil. So that's telling people that it wasn't baby oil. And people think that that was baby oil, they out their mind. I don't believe it was baby oil. Yo, bro, when they went up in there, they knew what they was going to find. They knew what was ever in that baby oil or that those bottles that appeared to be baby oil, they knew about that at first. You got to realize 9 times out of 10, that individual that got caught at the airport, that was supposed to be their carrier, told them what they was doing and what they had. I wouldn't put him past that he told them everything. So when they went up in there, they knew they had to take whatever was out there, and that thing that appeared to be baby oil, they took that. They got to test every last one of them. Let's see how much, let's see how many of those come back to be baby oil. Bro, listen to me. Costco don't sell that much baby oil. Where you know sell that much baby oil?
Yeah, I don't know any store that sell that much baby oil. I know Costco, they came out and said that they don't even sell baby oil.
My sentiments exactly.
But you personally, right, what do you believe was in the baby oil?
If you ever seen a massage parlor being raided and they walking out the people, do they take the massage oil with them when they go? No, they just walk out the people who are being arrested.
The reactions within the industry have been crazy. One executive, who wants to stay anonymous since they're still active in the field, said watching these tapes felt like seeing someone's entire career unravel in front of them. Another insider close to Ross's label revealed they had to call urgent meetings because no one knew how many more bombs 50 Cent was going to drop. This isn't your typical rap beef where someone leaks old DMs or releases a diss track. These tapes have Ross and Diddy looking super shady, especially with all the other allegations flying around lately. The timing couldn't be worse. Right when Ross is trying to grow his business empire and Diddy is dealing with his own mess, the real concern for Ross is how these tapes could impact everything he's built. We're talking about his Wingstop franchises, that new Checkers deal, and all those brand partnerships. Once corporate America sees you tangled in something like this, they start getting very nervous about associating with you. But the real pressure comes from knowing 50 is sitting on even more footage. Every time Ross tries to deny or explain something, 50 drops another clip that makes him look even worse. It's like 50 had cameras on Ross for years, just waiting for the perfect moment to unleash chaos. When Ross got wind of what was actually in those tapes, things really started to heat up. Because it's one thing to hear rumors about what's in the footage, but it's another thing entirely to know there's actual video proof of everything you've been trying to hide. And Ross's reaction? That's when everything went from bad to worse.
If you ever seen a person getting arrested and the people being arrested in those brothel houses, do they take out the stuff in the brothel houses? No, they don't. They take the individuals who are being arrested out the brothel houses. For them to take 1,000 bottles of baby oil, it's like that they did not leave one. They left people there, but they ain't leave not one bottle. Nobody needed no baby oil. So my whole thing about it is that there was something in that other than baby oil. That's why they took all the bottles. And 9 times out of 10, if I would give it a wild guess, it was, and like some of the people told me, it was probably that GHB.
What's that?
I think it's gamma hydrox. I looked it up, bro. Let me see. See if I can find it. I know this is just showing everything like that, but oh no. Let me. Yo, somebody tap dance or sing or do something, you know what I'm saying, while I'm doing this. Oh, here it go right here. It's gamma hydroxy butyric. What is its effect on the body? It's a euphoria, drowsiness, decreased anxiety, and memory impairment. It works on the nervous system and gives you this feeling of euphoria. So they take that and rubbed it on her, and you forget who you are, what you're doing. It can also give you memory loss, drowsiness, and that's under the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration.gov.
When the notifications started blowing up everyone's phones at 2 a.m., no one was ready for what they saw. Ross wasn't just mad, he was going scorched earth. Veteran PR experts were texting each other, saying, "Someone needs to stop him before he ruins everything." Ross's first response hit Instagram like a bomb, a 15-minute rant filled with threats and accusations that had his own team in a panic. He wasn't even trying to deny what was in those tapes anymore. He was straight up threatening 50's life. The way he was pacing in that video, looking like he hadn't slept in days, had people wondering if he had really lost it. Hour brought a new explosion. First, it was the voice messages he started sending to everyone who shared the video, threatening lawsuits, making wild accusations, and even bringing up old dirt no one was supposed to know. His team tried to do damage control, but Ross wasn't having it. He was on Instagram Live at 3 a.m. calling people out, exposing industry secrets, and making threats that couldn't be taken back. Things got messy when Ross started dropping addresses, not just 50's known spots but places where his family stayed. That's when his own people started distancing themselves. His PR team was sending out statements, trying to clean up the mess, but Ross would hop back online and undo all their work in minutes. Even his closest business partners were calling, begging him to log off before he burned every bridge he ever built.
activities with other, A-listers having activities together is what this is. And again, that's a potentially outing of somebody as well. You know what I mean? There's so many things here that happen in releasing of this private consensual moment that while salaciously everybody wants to know, and people are messaging me all the time, Andy, who's what? And it's like, I'm not gonna say, because there seem to be way too many things that these people in the tapes, whether consensual, whether they, whatever, didn't agree to put out there. And I would think that's a legal issue too for anybody who puts these out first, no?
Yeah, you nailed it. You can't without the consent of the victim. That's the problem. Somebody thinks that somebody has no idea, right? You said, well, didn't they know they're being recorded? No. I mean, in these situations, the assumption is they did not know. And that's what we believe right now, is the victims did not know that they were being recorded. If the victim comes out and says, okay, yes, I knew I was recorded, and a statement is provided, that's a different story. But of course, you don't know that. So you, Andy, probably can't be the one to break that ice and be like, well, this is what I heard and this is what I know, and so I'm going to say it. And there's all kinds of hairy legal issues on that, right? With privacy and intrusion on seclusion is what we call it. It's a privacy violation. There could be defamation implications. There could be criminal implications. So you're doing the right thing by treading carefully. And I think more people should do this rather than get into speculation. Now, if you see the videos, even still, right? If somebody takes...
Not to interrupt, but that's the question. Like, am I allowed to see these videos? Like, if I were to ask this source, show me the videos, do I put myself in worse legal jeopardy?
That's another distinct legal issue, right? It's like you're watching something that someone didn't know they were being recorded of doing, right? And so it's dicey. It's dicey. Now, it would be different if you were an attorney and somebody's coming to you for purposes of defense or prosecution of a claim, a civil claim, or the filing, of some action to recover damages. That's a little different. But for purposes of, hey, look what I got, juicy gossip, and there are reporting outlets that I won't mention that will do stuff like this. I don't know that it's the smartest thing to do. I don't know that it's the careful thing to do. That's for sure. Or it's the ethical or moral thing to do.
Yeah, it is exactly. I'm not a lawyer, but maybe this source will show you, and then you can verify what we know. But here's the other problem. Even if we verify what we know, like as I watched what Ariel, the lawyer, got these tapes, and even again, I don't want to get into the details, any remote details that could help explain or allude to even more of theories that are out there, or debunk or confirm. But I will say, hearing what I heard, which again isn't confirmation, but hearing what I heard, it makes me dislike what Ariel's doing even more, because I think there are going to be people out there, if this information does get out in some way, that are going to deny that these people are victims, that they're going to try to say, oh no, they're just consensually and they were hiding this affair and yada, yada, yada. And I don't see it that way personally. I mean, and granted, I haven't seen or know, like this isn't somebody involved from what I've gathered in these tapes of them, doing it to others in a way, criminally, like we've heard in some of these suits. This is just, it almost feels like, again, if it's real, like blackmail material that Diddy keeps to sort of hold over these people's heads. And to me, that's awful to the people in it, whether they agreed or knew or whatever. It still just feels like that's no one's freaking business. And maybe they were doing it for reasons we don't know. Just because we saw it in the tape doesn't mean they weren't feeling pressured in other ways, right? So it's a heavy and complicated thing, but it's not a hard decision to say, I can't run with trying to even allude to who these people are.
Sounds like the desperate moves started coming quick after that. Ross's team tried getting the tapes taken down with copyright claims, but 50 had already spread them everywhere. Then Ross started offering money to anybody who could help him track down who helped 50 get that footage. He was throwing around numbers that had people's eyes popping. We're talking millions just to find out who'd been recording him. By the time the sun came up, Ross had already violated about 6 different Instagram policies and had his account restricted 3 times. But instead of cooling off, he just kept making new burner accounts, getting more reckless with each post. His lawyers were calling nonstop. His business partners were threatening to pull out of deals, and